Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As I'm assuming all of you know that, and know is in quotation mark, that Russia invaded Ukraine unprovoked. So it was an attack by Russia, which was unprovoked. They just did it because there was no reason. In the name of intellectual honesty, I can't accept that because the evidence is not there to support this claim, but is there to support, no, actually, the Russians entered over there. One of the reasons why, to protect their Russians living in Ukraine, who were massacred or attacked by the Kiev regime, by the Ukrainian government. That was instituted by this, voted by that, and all that. So the Russians intervened to protect their people who were attacked by the military, the Ukrainian organized, legitimate military. That was one of the reasons. So I think that's a good enough reason for me. If I have my cousin, living in over there, married with someone, and you beat up my cousin, I would get over there and I will protect my cousin. Now, if you attack me and you want to hit me, and if I can, I will fuck you up. If you don't do that, that's your problem. I do that, okay? If I am in the circumstance, under the circumstance. Why did I start with this? This is a clear prerequisite of having the Russians attack you. Kill my people in your country, and we're going to come and defend them. Hey, like the United States of America, if you remember, did with the Mexicans and in Texas. Go and study that one. The same thing. The Mexican government attacked the Texan settlers, the American Texan settlers, all right, because they had the disagreement in religion. Okay, so then what? Hey, you're killing our people over there. You can't do that. We're going to support our brothers. And then so on. And then Adolf copied the same thing, and many other people copied the same thing. Now, if you don't want to defend your relative over there, it's your choice. I will. Now, any country that has a Russian population and they discriminate against, or they are abusing them, they potentially could be attacked unprovoked by the Russians, and they will be. We have here 3 EU, European Union nations, persecuting Russian speakers. Moscow says, what does that mean? Whatever I said up to minute, 3 or something, is valid. Let me show you who are those countries that Russia will fuck them up. And there's no surprise there. Russia Today, 11th of May 2024. 3 EU nations persecuting Russian speakers. Okay, let's see who these guys are. The Baltic states have been displaying, and I'm quoting, extreme Russophobia. Don't do that, and the Russians will have no problem with you. Okay. Harassing even Russian-speaking children, a senior diplomat says. Could these allegations be unfounded or purely lies? Could be. But we know why, because they said so. They implemented certain laws over there in which they really make sure that the Russian will not speak certain kind of languages, and they will just be deported if they don't pass a language test. It's like you would have in the United States of America, some Latinos or Romanians, and if they don't pass a English language literally, can't find it. Anyway, you know what I mean. Test. Literacy. Fuck. Literacy. Woohoo! Literacy. All right. So literacy. You say, fuck, it's not like that, Emil. You celebrate for nothing. Well, you know what I mean. Okay. If they don't pass that test, they will be deported to Russia. Or here, if we don't pass the test, we should be deported to what? To Romania and whatever. Is that how it works? Ask your American friends if they agree with that. Hey! Anyway, so let's see what else is here. Moscow will not sever diplomatic relations with Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, despite the extreme Russophobia rampant in the 3 Baltic states, since such a move would effectively effectively mean abandoning our compatriots in trouble, the director of Russian Foreign Ministry's second European Department, Sergei Balyayev, said. Okay, today our diplomatic missions in the Baltic states operate in extremely difficult, effectively siege conditions, the diplomat explained. And let's see what's going on here. Russian nationals and even locals who are speakers of Russian have been increasingly persecuted in the 3 Baltic states under the, and I'm quoting, far-fetched pretext of being a threat to national security. You're a threat to national security, you're going to be arrested, Americans, in the name of that, to protect the common good. And I'm quoting, Russophobia and everyday discrimination are growing, including bullying of children in schools and even kindergartens, Belyayev warned, pointing out that, and I'm quoting, the Russian language has been almost completely squeezed out of all spheres of public life, including the education system. They might call this as a cultural genocide. No? Okay, wait, because of the Russians? The Baltic states, especially, and I'm quoting, Latvia and Estonia. I will show you the map and I will go one by one over each of these 3 countries, Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, and I'm going to show you the Russian minority population in each of these countries. By the way, the total population of the Baltic states, the 3 countries I mentioned, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, are 6.1 million people. 6.1, 3 countries. What do you think Russia can do? If Russia just turns over in bed while sleeping and pushes a one button, these guys are non-existent. But hey, what can you do? So this, especially Latvia and Estonia, are home to a large number of Russian-speaking people, including Russian citizens. In the current situation, we do not have the moral right to abandon our compatriots in trouble. The same with the neighbor and my cousin. We are actively fighting police brutality, not only in specialized international structures, but also directly in the Baltic countries, involving human rights activists and lawyers, the diplomat explained. Okay, so let me show you. This is not disconnected to what these guys, I think, and I make a connection between Kaliningrad, the Baltic states, and Russia. Kaliningrad, I will show you on the map, is a little Russian enclave between Lithuania and Poland, with a difference of about 60 miles between Kaliningrad and Belarus. So if the Russians can get that little Danzig corridor, then everything will be just fine over there. Third World War could start. So let me read this article for you. Right here. Ex-NATO commander calls for Russian region to be neutralized. James Stavridis, I made a video on this one, called Kaliningrad a geographic wedge between the bloc's members. So I think this little 3 countries persecuting has something to do with Kaliningrad. This is the video I made on the 10th. NATO to conquer Russia's Kaliningrad in self-defense. Russia could deploy nukes there. So I don't think it's just the 3 countries that are idiotic. I think it's more than that. And I think these guys right here want to neutralize it. So the Russians said, okay, how about we fuck you up first? Unprovoked. Now let's see. Latvia. Now let's go to the map. That's even better. Right here. Map of Europe. Europa. Here this is Russia. Kaliningrad is right here with pink as Belgium, whatever that color is, brick. And here's Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. So Estonia and Latvia, these 2 countries bordering, and NATO countries bordering Russia, these guys have a big population of Russians in it. Right, here is the little corridor that I was talking about between Belarus and Russia, and Poland, and between Poland and Lithuania. So let's start with Estonia. Estonia, which is this little country right here with, you see the population, Estonia. And we're going to go here to population, ethnic groups, correct? Ethnic groups. Estonians, 67.8%. Russians, 22.5%. So these people here have about almost 25%. So 1 in 4 is a Russian. 1 in 4. What do you think? So that's Estonia for you. And let's see, what do we have here? I want to see the population. Where's the population? Right here. 1,373,101 people. So 1.3, let's say 1.4 almost. 1,000,000.4. Okay? This is the great country of Estonia that would behave normally and diplomatically if the United States would not be here. Now, next one, Latvia, south of Estonia. Latvia, another big mouth Baltic states that the Russians will have no patience with them. We have here, oy vey, Latvian, 63%, even less, and the Russians even more, 24.2. 24.2, the other ones were 22 point something. So Latvia has 24%, again, 1 in 4 is Russian. And let's see the population, the big number, 1.8. So 1,842,226 people. 1.8, the other one was 1.3, let's put it this way. And let's go next, obviously, to Lithuania, who is right here between Russia and Belarus. Belarus is like Russia, okay, let's put it this way. Lithuania, Lietuva. Let's see Lietuva. What do you have? Where are you? Lietuva. These are the chants when I was fighting with Lithuanians in Kyokushin. That's how they were yelling. Lietuva. Okay, Lietuva. Okay, we got 5.1% Russians. That's how many Hungarians are in Romania. About 6%, 5%. So that's a big number. Don't you think? Oh, let's see how many. Oh, so you have Belarusians, you have 1.7, so you can make it about 8, right? So you make 7%. These are guys. You got Ukrainians and others. Let's see the number, the population. 2.8, 2.9 almost. 2 million. So all these guys are 6.1 million people together, or something like that, if they are over there. So these are the countries who have a minority, Russian minority. They know that the Russians will smack them because they smacked Ukraine unprovoked, defending their Russians in Ukraine that were aggressed and killed by those guys. The Russians claim that was a genocide. Do you know how many Russians died in Eastern Ukraine, since 2014? No, why not? Why not? Why don't you know? The Russians claim, and the Russians are lying, right? Between 10,000, I think, to 17,000 or 15,000, something like that. Well, whatever. How many died in Gaza? Because you have the right of self-defense, and you do whatever you want if you are those guys. Now, I think Kaliningrad is one of the problems, and these guys, why don't they just treat the Russians equally or normal? Why do they? I think they harass them. I've been watching this. I think they impose certain policies directed to hurt and harass the Russian population in those 3 countries. But those guys know. They're not imbeciles. They're not baboons. I don't think some of them are baboons, but I don't think they don't know. I mean, the example is right there. Ukraine had what? 41, 42 million people. These guys have together 6 million people. What are you talking about? And you're this 1 or 2, and the Russians will have no patience with you and the Poles. I guarantee you that. Why? Because the Russians don't consider you or the Poles their cousins. Yeah, you're Slavic, blah, 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 blah. But even though historical events had the Russians and the Poles very friendly. They didn't have the Ukrainians, but even though genetically are much closer, if not the same. The Russians claim, hey, the Malo-Russians, the small Russians, malenki, okay, the Malo-Russians, the small Russians. The Ukrainians don't like that because they're not Russians. Well, whatever you are, you're either a brother or a close cousin, whereas the Poles are some fifth whatever cousins, and the Lithuanians, Estonians, and Latvians even further. So, including open your mouth. Remember, this is like a neighborhood. There are gangs and bullies, guys, gang members, gang bosses, and all that. And you have little countries, and you are in charge. I've been through this in my distant past, right? A gang member, not gang like a gang member, like a neighborhood, not gang with doing criminality, not that kind of thing, but fighting all the time, smoking, Yes, underage. Let's put it this way. And then you have these guys over here, and you have these little fuckers who were always yapping around when they were around another boss, another guy. The strength was determined by fight. Right? You were beating people around, you were the boss. Right? Or you had a little bit of big mouth, so you use some mullies like, okay, man, I'm gonna fight for you. Yeah, you knew that guy is strong, but he did not have balls. But you had balls and you were strong, so you keep the distance. But then you have these guys that are trying to like a fucking little dog yapping, and you know what I mean? And then these guys, when they were around the boss, they were big mouths. Now, when you find that guy in the schoolyard alone, or walking, going to buy groceries for mommy, or buy cigarettes for daddy, and you catch them over there, he would like running away, and you grab, you run after the motherfucker, you catch him because you're stronger, you catch the motherfucker, smacking around, and then I see you again. He would leave. And while he was at a safe distance to get in his apartment building, he will start saying, and then you do just, huh? And he's like, up the stairs in his apartment. And then you would say, I will catch you again, mofo. And next time when you meet these guys, go, hey, I heard you beat my little fucker here. Yeah, I did because he opened his mouth. So this is, the little fucker is the Baltic states. And America is that guy, and Russia is this guy, or however you want to take it. That's the way it works in the real world as well. Like in Chicago. In Chicago, there were gangs, and they were fighting for territory. And you had little pioneers that they were pushing buttons, trying to see how far they can go. And sometimes they went as far as a Tommy, and that's it. And say, hey, what did you do to Antonio? Boy, Antonio was an idiot. He stepped on my balls. What am I supposed to do? Let him over there suck him? No. I have my own ladies to do that for me. I'm talking about those guys, not me. Don't. Okay, so here is, my friends. The Russians have no patience. And this is really, how should I put it, a recipe. You want to be attacked by the Russians unprovoked? Just fuck their people in your country. Just do that. I mean, it's clear. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think they want that. They're just pushing it. But they might be caught buying groceries or cigarettes for daddy and then smacked around when the other guy is not around. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.